From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. As we go to air tonight, State Parliament remains in the middle of a mammoth sitting debating Jeremy Rockliff's leadership. Labor's no confidence motion is expected to fail, but the Premier's still been forced to weather his first day in minority.
Old faces sitting in new places. Fresh off a move to the crossbench, Lara Alexander and John Tucker joined a parliamentary assault on the AFL deal.
I've always been brought up, who pays the fiddler calls the tune.
Do you support the push for the former Premier, Peter Gutwein, to become the chair?
The deal that was meant to bring the state together, yet tore the government apart, proving just as divisive today.
Premier, it's such a shocking deal for Tasmania, where people sleep in tents and die waiting for an ambulance.
We have been the first government ever since generations of fighting, or decades for fighting, to secure our AFL teams to speak. And the economics stack up.
Questions on every facet, from whether the federal funds were already headed our way.
Can you confirm that you only formally asked for a GST exemption after we raised it in question time on Tuesday the 9th of May?
We expect
you still haven't asked.
to be treated fairly.
To why the proposed rapid bus transit might not even go to Macquarie Point.
For a moment, I thought it was a joke. The plan shown to me has the buses diverting off the rail corridor at the hockey grounds.
The final section to the cenotaph reportedly too narrow for bus use. A Labor motion to debate no confidence in the Premier would normally be blocked. This time,
the government will be supporting the suspension of standing orders to allow this debate to happen in full. We won't be putting a time limit on it.
But it's destined for failure, the 2 new independents pledging not to back the motion.
We've had the discussions with the Premier, where the Premier has promised to us, to John and myself, that transparency will be forthcoming.
MPs said for a long and likely fruitless night.
And we're joined now by state political reporter Josh Duggan, who's at Parliament House. Josh, how late could this debate go tonight?
Kim, the MPs could be here close to midnight. Each of them is entitled to speak for up to 30 minutes, and we've just got on to the 11th speaker. There's obviously some chance that the 2 new independents might vote against the Premier, but it does seem that he has survived today's events. Given that everyone's telegraphed how they're voting, it has prompted some debate over what the value of today really is.
This government needs to be held to account. They haven't let us. They haven't let us hold them to account. Today is the day where we can.
I think it's important to have this debate. It should be limited though. Having 10 hours plus allocated to a no confidence motion isn't the best use of Parliament's time.
Well, we'll be expecting similar fireworks tomorrow, Kim.
Looks like it. Thank you very much there, Josh Duggan. Well, concerns have been raised about the safety of Tasmania's trans community after a memorial for Marjorie Harwood, who died in 2018, was vandalised. The mother of Ms Harwood made the shocking discovery on Saturday. A memorial rock near Risdon Prison was graffitied with an acronym commonly used by anti-trans activists. Supporters want political and civil leaders to speak out against rising threats directed towards the community.
Tasmania has a reputation as being one of the most progressive jurisdictions on the planet. This pretty clearly demonstrates that we have a long way to go.
Why would you attack someone that's died? Why have you got so much hate?
Tasmania Police say they're yet to receive a report about the incident. Local unions say lives are at risk when the St Helens private hospital closes its doors next month. Patients and staff now calling on the Premier to take more action, but the government argues it's already helping to fill the gap.
Admitted to the ICU after her battle with mental health became too vicious, Madison Cutlass says the St Helens private hospital has not only saved her life but helped her train the monsters in her mind.
I rely on these services to keep me healthy, and going to the Royal is often incredibly traumatic and can make my mental illness worse.
Madison now sending a strong message to the Premier out of fear for what the hospital's closure will mean for her health.
Save our mental health services, because if you don't, there is no exaggeration in saying
that you will have blood on your hands.
Her cries heard by dozens rallying outside the executive building in support of St Helens patients and staff.
Let's rally, let's fight, mental health.
People who have served the community, who have helped them in their moment of need, who have protected them when they need protecting, will no longer have a place to go to seek treatment.
We're already hearing from health workers who are leaving the state because they're losing their job here and they don't have a guaranteed employment.
HealthScope says it plans to redeploy as many staff as possible and is continuing to have constructive discussions to ensure a smooth transition of mental health services to other providers. The company today releasing a proposed availability plan which could see the Hobart Clinic managing transcranial magnetic stimulation, electroconvulsive therapy and inpatient programs. Meanwhile, the government is on track to open a mother and baby unit in the RHH, with general psychiatry services still up in the air. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
New figures have revealed the rising cost of renting in Hobart. PropTrack's latest report shows fewer than 10% of rental properties on the market are under $400 a week. It's half the number available for the same price a year ago. Houses are in even shorter supply, with less than 1 in 24 listings available for that figure. It's not expected to get any easier, with the group warning growing demand will see that share remain low. The results of forensic testing on items which may be related to the disappearance of Cheyenne Tattnall will be known by the end of the week. Today, police renewed their calls for the public to come forward if they have any information which may help them find the missing 14-year-old.
These cars could hold the key to finding 14-year-old Cheyenne Tattnall, 2 sedans and a van among them. Investigators have already inquired with some drivers.
They've also said that they didn't realise that we wanted them to come forward because they didn't have anything to tell us. That in itself is what we're after. We actually want to discount you from any investigation, from any potential witness.
It's been almost a month since the teenager was last seen on the Henry Street Bridge.
We're not ruling out that Cheyenne isn't in the river, but we know that we've done all we can to try and locate her there.
Despite calling off the river search, police are still continuing to follow new leads.
We have seized some other items of interest. They are being forensically tested, specifically for any evidence of Cheyenne. We haven't got those results back, but they are items which are potentially of significant interest.
Today revealing more details of the last time she was seen moving towards the Henry Street area.
At one stage she is running, but that doesn't indicate that she was being chased. So I think she was wherever she was going, she was keen to get there pretty quickly.
But they're not losing hope.
We're not silly. We know that if this goes on much longer, then the chances of a successful outcome are getting slimmer by the day.
Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
Residents in the city of Launceston will soon be going back to the polls after former Mayor Danny Gibson stepped down. A number of councillors have already put their hand up for the top job. Talia Jordan has a look at who could be the city's new mayor.
Danny Gibson's resignation as mayor leaving this chair empty. His replacement sitting somewhere around this table.
From Monday, the period will open for nominations, and that'll be open until the 6th of June.
On Thursday, the councillors will hold a workshop, with councillors Alan Harris and Andrea Dawkins waiting until after that meeting to make their decision. Councillor Tim Walker and Acting Deputy Mayor Matthew Garwood have confirmed they will nominate for the top job, while Lindy McMahon, Susie Kai and Alex Britton have confirmed they will not. Joe Pentridge and Hugh McKenzie are among those yet to make a decision.
The elections are compulsory like they were in October, so yes, get that in so you don't have to be faced with a fine.
But the role of acting deputy mayor is still open, with the council to appoint someone at the next council meeting. If more than one councillor is nominated, the appointment will be decided by ballot. And if Matthew Garwood does become the mayor, voters will not return to the polls to fill his deputy mayor position.
The vacancy for the deputy mayor is replaced by the councillors around the council table.
Ballots will be posted out on the 14th of June, with the poll closing on the 11th of July. Results are expected by the next day. As for the cost,
it's probably somewhere around $4 or so per electre.
Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
A new report has found Hobart's 4 major rivulets are healthier upstream than down, the water quality worsening as it approaches urban life. The study is all thanks to tiny native water bugs, which are sensitive to the negative impacts on a rivulet's health, including erosion and pollution.
In these upper areas, there's a lot more of them and a lot more diversity of water bug life. But as we move down, that diversity drops off.
A lot of the mainland is really rather horrible. And so it's really quite heartening to know that we've still got this stuff hanging around the tops of the rivers, because it means that when we do fix stuff, we can invite the green stuff back into town.
The report recommends removing willows, revegetating the banks and increasing canopy cover over the waterways. Salamanca Market businesses have welcomed a new agreement with the City of Hobart, with rent rises to be capped at CPI. Councillors voted to support the plan, with the Stallholders Association now looking to repair their relationship with the council.
All smiles for Salamanca stallholders. After months of discussions, an agreement has been reached, securing the market's future.
We're really happy with last night's result. Common sense has prevailed. Everyone is really buoyed and really happy.
Council staff recommended rents be based on a site valuation, but elected members voted last night to limit the increase to CPI, capped at 10%.
We still feel that that will be sustainable and we'll be able to, keep those businesses running.
We simply want to be the unique self that Salamanca is, and that's how I feel Council has now finally seen the light.
The decision coming after a long debate.
I think there's flexibility here to take a bit of a hit on the revenue.
I cannot accept option 3. We are all experiencing a significant rise in costs of doing business, and that includes us.
Stallholders will also be a partner in future valuations and gain access to how money is spent. One thing the agreement doesn't cover, however, is a relationship between businesses and council.
The trust is gone. We've felt disrespected, so there's a lot of work to be done.
The City of Hobart has previously said an increase based on CPI would leave them $54,000 worse off next year. The association wants council to review its budget, saying there's room to cut.
All these things are nice, but they don't actually add particularly to the vibrancy of the market.
There are arguments that some of the elements that are being spent on are probably not necessarily appropriate. Let's see what we can do with that.
The acting CEO says they have a strong relationship with local small businesses and are keen to work with stallholders into the future. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian-led project is unlocking a new understanding about life on the bottom of the ocean. The online portal CMAP Australia helping to manage and protect our seafloor habitats.
Taking a trip under the sea, giving greater insight into our marine life.
The more eyes we have in the water, the more biodiversity we can uncover.
Entering uncharted waters, the first of its kind resource helping shape the future of the nation's seafloor habitats.
It is a real game changer because it consolidates the best, most current, trusted, up-to-date information that we have.
The Institute for Marine and Antarctic Studies assembling a school of minds, hoping to map out more marine parks.
And what CMAP enables us to do is put a face to some of these areas to get that small glimpse into what's actually underneath the big blue curtain.
Researchers diving into the data, creating a central hub, ensuring everyone is on the same page.
And also brings together data from national providers all around Australia on things like seafloor imagery and seafloor surface and underwater video.
Hoping to better identify where to make a cash splash and giving the chance for new creatures to show their faces.
Every time you drop down a camera or a robot underwater, you're always expecting to discover something new and quirky.
More than 2 years' worth of work coming down to today, with the map officially going online, the brains behind the portal eager to get the ball rolling.
We're very excited to see this finally come to fruition in the public space.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Ravenswood Primary School has welcomed a new addition with the ribbon cut on the school's coolest playground. Students have eagerly awaited the grand opening of the nature space, featuring everything from a bike track to a formidable fort.
It's really fun and all of the kids in the school are really enjoying it and we're looking forward to it.
I've been 2 years of planning, of excitement, ready for this day.
The wider Ravenswood community is also encouraged to see what all the fun's about, with families welcome to use the equipment outside of school hours.
The Tornadoes' Keely Froling has been selected as part of the Opals extended squad, which will also feature 6 debutants. The team will assemble at next month's FIBA Women's Asia Cup. Meanwhile, Lucas Walker will head off to Vienna to represent Australia in the 3x3 World Cup. And in Premier League hockey, Canterbury is hoping its win on the weekend will spark its stuttering premiership defence. Tyler McDonald hat-trick helped them defeat OHA 3-2 and move within 2 points of the top 4. The captain says they're beginning to gel ahead of a big couple of weeks, starting with University on Saturday.
After our pretty slow start, every game is kind of almost a big game for us now. We're really looking to get those points up to get a bit of separation between the bottom 2 and the top 4.
In the women's, OHA's captain believes there's still a chance of finishing in the top 2 after their 4-1 win over Canterbury on the weekend.
I think it's more of a building season, but I definitely think we could knock off the top 2 teams and, reach the finals.
And those hopes will be scrutinised when they take on second place North Wedge graduates next. And that is Tuesday Sport, Ken.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie 16 today. Launceston and Devonport both on 15 degrees, while Friendly Beaches and Grove our high with 18. St Helens and Bushy Park 17. Smithton along with King and Flinders Island 16 today, and Lowhead 15. Strawn a bit cooler, 13 there, and a few showers today over Strawn and King Island as low cloud moved over the west. Patchier high cloud found its way elsewhere across the state. Clear skies, however, over much of the continent. Some low-level cloud over western parts of WA and coastal South Australia and Victoria. Tomorrow, the next front starts its progress towards us, pushing those isobars into a northwesterly airstream pattern. The high continues to the northeast. Now, those northwesterlies are going to pack a punch tomorrow. Very strong everywhere and even up to 40 knots over the west and south, swells to 4 metres. We have a severe weather warning for damaging winds that'll develop tomorrow evening, affecting most of the state. A gale warning from southeast Cape to Sandy Cape along with the southwest lakes, and a strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters and the central plateau lakes. So we can take it that's going to be windy tomorrow and partly cloudy for Hobart 19, 17 with a shower over Geeveston, partly cloudy for Bothwell 17 the top. Launceston a high of 17 degrees with a few showers. Devonport 16, Cressy showers with increasing winds and 17, 16 for Burnie. Becoming windy in the west, Strawn 16 and Curry 17 degrees, and along the east coast tomorrow 17 the top for St Helens, a possible shower, partly cloudy for both Swansea and Orford. On Thursday the strong winds continue, bringing showers and heavier falls over the west and north, bit of snow to 600 metres. A colder start to Friday with showers over the west, far south and Bass Strait, and on Saturday showers extending right across the state again apart from the east coast. A shower for Perth tomorrow, sunny in Adelaide and 20 degrees, partly cloudy over Melbourne, and sunny conditions for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane.
And that wraps up tonight's bulletin. Enjoy your evening. For now, it's good night.